And action! So we got the Vevor 2,200 pound electric hoist for our butcher shop. We're going to see how this looks. Just got here. They said it would be here by 8 o'clock and it's 7:37, so got unboxing instructions. Some straps.
Pretty secure in there.
Yep. It's cheap. So this one is the 2,200 pound, so that's a ton, just over a ton actually. So why this one's going to be, this particular hoist is going to be used for after we dispatch animals in the butcher shop, whether it be pigs or cows. This is what we're going to use to hold them, hoist them up onto our I-beam so we can transfer them into the cooler. So we needed one that was going to be over 1,500 pounds for our potential biggest animals. And so this one's single wire, so if it was just hanging straight down is 1,100 pounds capacity. But if you go like this and add this snatch block right here, this actually doubles pulling power. Same thing with when you're doing vehicle recovery or towing. Anytime you use a snatch block and a pulley, you double your pulling force. So so single wire. One of the reasons I went with this one, single wire, this is 39 feet per minute. So that means obviously it's only going to take, we have about a 14, not even a 14-foot pole. We have about an 11-foot pole from floor to where the I-beam is going to be. So that means it's only going to take about 20 seconds on the, if we use a single wire to go from on the floor to all the way up. This is obviously a shut-off switch, or to whatever height we want it at. It's going to get there relatively quick. So for bleeding animals out, that is to get there as quickly as possible is good. A lot of heavy-duty winches and stuff only operate at like 8 feet per minute, so they're pretty slow. Powerful but slow. So. And the other reason I went with this one versus some of the other ones, a lot of the models are all the same, whether they're Harbor Freight or PA 1000s or what have you, is this has a manual button, up, down, and the kill switch to stop it. A lot of them are now remote control, which might sound good, but remote remote control doesn't sound very reliable to me. So this one's directly wired to the shutoff on it. So that was another reason that I went with that one. And we're trying to build our butcher shop out of budget, and the price point was pretty good on this one. At I think it was 175 bucks. So we'll see how it holds up. Versus Harbor Freight is 300, and some of the other ones you can spend $7,000 on a hoist. So we don't have that kind of resources, but we're going to give this one a whirl, and we'll see how it holds up.
What are you doing now?
Figure what the combination is going to be. So when it's all together, it'll be 4 inches in between these wheels. So this is our beam trolley that you have to put together. So what the first thing you have to do is you have to buy a carry ton, because we need it to carry a ton. So it needs to be a carry ton, and they give you free gloves. So you got to put your free gloves on before you get started. And then this one is good for 2.5 to a 4-inch wide beam. Ours, a 5-inch wide beam. Ours is 4, excuse me. So we had to figure out the right combination of spacers and washers to get exactly 4 inches in between the wheels that will wrap around the beam. So I think we're close. We're gonna lift this up there. I was trying to decide if putting these brackets onto the actual hoist first or putting the trolley on the beam first, and I'm not sure that it really is going to make a difference. You have to hold the weight up there while you're fastening it anyway. So we're going to attempt it this way, where we just slide this plate over, and once it's on the bolt, it'll hold the weight, and then we can make any adjustments and figure out if we've got the right spacers or not. So that's what we're going to try next. Could have lost that little wheel that goes in the bottom. It would go like that every time we have something hanging on it. That looks... Boy, I don't know. That might be perfect. Yeah, might be. Interesting. So, the trolley only having wheels on the top, if while it was just sitting here, it could rock up and down. It couldn't really fall off, but it could. The weight's more on this end because of the motor right now, so it was tipping up. So there's a bearing wheel that rides on the inside that bolts through right here. So once you get it installed, so you don't have any real side deflection, then you just bring this one up to the bottom of the beam and tighten it up, and then it will keep it from the trolley from rocking when there's weight in different areas. The shutoff's about 124 inches, so for you West Coast people, that is 10'4". So we should set up a little timer. See here. About 16 seconds. You might have to edit it. So we went 10.4, so 10 1/4 feet, and it was 16 seconds. So that's 0.64 seconds per foot. So 0.64 times 60 is 38.4, and I believe they said it was either 38 feet a minute or 39 feet a minute. So it's right, they didn't lie. It's pretty much right there. See that I don't care for is this stop's actually hitting the housing when it stops. So that doesn't actually stop it. So this is supposed to stop it. I won't let it go up anymore. It'll work that time.
I was gonna say, it looks like there's a screw that's a little loose, that back one, so.
Stacy noticed this was loose, this little screw right here that holds the bracket for the limit switch. So first impressions, this cover wasn't installed very well and these screws weren't seated well. Obviously it's just a cheap cover, but we reseated that and these were loose. So it might help us go a little. So yeah, that's probably the problem. Yep. So this little limit bracket here that hits the switch was loose, so that probably was why it was going past the limit switch. Well, if it has no weight on it, it can slip through like that. I don't know if you just saw that, but this little plastic donut or whatever, it's supposed to hit the switch, lift it up and stop it. But if there's no weight on it, it can swing by and slip through. It's done it twice now. If there's weight on it, it's probably going to be more centered. And it'll hit the switch. So just have to be aware of that if we're ever bringing this up to get it out of the way when there's no actual physical weight on it. So yeah, seems to do what we need. It's pretty fast. All the chain fall style ones are definitely, I would say, more heavy duty, but look like they're more heavy duty, but they're nowhere near as fast. So the thing I noticed is it's not actually riding on the Okay, final review of the Vevor 2,200 pound winch for butchering on a trolley, I might add. Probably be different if it was solid mounted. First pig we raised up, it still was moving a little bit, even though it was insensitive to pain, but I don't know if swinging a little bit while we were hoisting it up. This was the stop. As you can see, it bent that bolt, and then it also, I'm thinking it might have swung while it was getting right towards the end, and this came off from the stop that would have normally stopped it, and it got jammed up in. So this bent, and it also broke the little boss on the housing that this bolts into. It's not the end of the world. It just now does not have an automatic stop. But in our, I guess in our situation, that stop probably wasn't going to work anyways. If it was just dead weight, no pun intended, straight down, pulling straight up, this would have stopped it. But I think swinging maybe a little bit, it was able to come over and pull this thing off as it went up. So all in all, it goes really good. It's fast, so have to be careful that you're not paying attention to what's going on the ground or the animal so much as making sure that you're not going too high. We have 11'2" ceilings here, so we got some play, but all depends on how big the animal is and what stage of the process you're at. So all in all, it's going pretty good. This was the first pig, so it was kind of a little disappointing that we, broke something on the first one. but that's kind of how we do things here at Haven Acres anyway, so better off just to get it out of the way. So yeah, all in all, pretty good, especially for the price point. I can't imagine being on a trolley. The trolley itself probably isn't designed to be on a have something that's moving on it. So it has a bottom, it has two top wheels on each side, and then on the bottom it has just a small wheel or a bearing to hold pressure against the bottom of the I-beam. With something moving around a little bit, it kind of works that loose, and you end up with it kind of flopping around. It can't come down, but it's not nice and tight like it should be. So I've got a fix for that in mind. We'll see how that goes. We'll just put a shaft across the bottom that acts as a wheel up against the entire bottom that's bolted through. So kind of a thought that I have. We're obviously the first time we've used this, so trying to figure out what the best end goal will be as far as what's going to be on a trolley and what's going to be on the rail system and ceiling heights and all that. So this may become stationary, we're not sure. But all in all, pretty good. Thanks for joining us at Haven Acres.